Hello everyone, welcome to Magical Me. I'm Jamie Mendez, spiritual intuitive and oracle, and I'm here with my weekly oracle message. And this is going to be a reading for the collective for the week of January 10th, 2022. So before I really go into anything, I'm just going to give it a moment and allow people to see that I am live and just test on the quality of sound. Hello, Rosemaria. Welcome, gorgeous. Thank you so much for being here. I'm happy you could make it. How are you? Jillian, welcome, my love. Thank you for being here. So those of you that are able to see me, hear me right now, how does everything sound on your end? Is it nice and clear? Or anything else going on? Yeah, happy Moon Day. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Rosemaria. I appreciate that. Just going to do a quick reset. Hi, Eleanor. Welcome, gorgeous goddess. How are you? I'm going to go ahead and just share this really quickly, everyone. Bear with me. Hey, Angela. Welcome, gorgeous. I'll be actually reaching out to you after this is done airing live. I was just in the middle of uploading your reading, your part 1. So that'll be over as soon as Moon Day is done. Okay, all done. All right, so how are you all feeling? How are you doing? It's been quite an interesting beginning of 2022, hasn't it? I myself have been very, very busy trying to catch up on all of those 2022 readings that people have signed up for. And so I greatly appreciate all of your patience as I actually ended up coming down right before New Year's. I came down with a severe sinus and upper respiratory infection. And it's not COVID, but it was quite nasty. So as you can hear, I'm just now starting to kind of be able to come back around and talk for long enough, because while I feel much better, my throat tends to get dry and hoarse very quickly. So I am going to keep it a little short if I can today. I'm not going to be doing the mudra, though I will pull that and post it. I'm not going to go over news and announcements, as there's really nothing that I want to talk about anyway. Going to do a really brief empathy forecast or energy forecast, and then I'm just going to go into the Moon Day message. Hi, Laura. Welcome, lovely. Thank you for being here. How are you? And Happy New Year, everybody, since it really is the first time I've been here since 2022 began. So those of you, I am working on readings. I'm just now getting back into the swing of everything. I'm really pacing myself. I think that's actually going to be part of a message that's coming forward anyway for us, for really not just for this week, but I really feel like it's for this year as we're really starting to transform and transcend. So definitely about adopting new practices, right? Good. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm doing much, much better. Thank you. Yeah, so for anybody who is new to the Moon Day readings, welcome and thank you so much for being here. Even if you're watching this on the replay, I appreciate you being here, and I do hope that you enjoy what it is that you find here. Every Monday or so long as I am able to, I do go with divine timing. I try to go live to bring forward a message for all of us to really see what it is that is going on throughout the energy of the week, giving us an awareness as to how we can best really move in divine flow versus being blind and swimming against the flow, if you will, which tends to create a little bit more of discord within our own lives. So it's really wonderful to have a bit of a heads up as to how we can best maneuver through the energy. So I do this utilizing oracle cards as well as my own intuitive abilities to bring forward the divine interpretation. This is it's a generalized reading, so it's not personalized readings that I'm doing here today, though I do offer private readings. If you are interested, you can always reach out to me. I will say for everybody that I am pretty booked up throughout the end of the year until I get caught up with some of these readings that I have. But I can always, like I said, schedule you out so we can at least get that book. So if you're interested, don't hesitate to contact me. Also, energy healing sessions, those are always available remotely as well as in person. So with that said, I am an intuitive and an energy sensitive, and I do try to bring forward this message for us all for what we most need. Again, as I do these, they resonate in divine timing, which means that whenever you find yourself here watching this, whether you are watching live or on replay even months from now, there is a message of resonance for you and something that will connect with you individually or uniquely for your own personal path and journey. So if you found yourselves here, welcome, and I hope that you take from it what you most need and discard the rest, okay? So with that said, I'm just going to go ahead and move right into the energy forecast. Hi, Dawn. Welcome, gorgeous. Do I? Well, thank you very much, Jillian. I appreciate that. I actually almost wore moon necklace, and I decided to change it out, but I kept in the moon earrings. So look at you in your magical self. Thank you, Angela. I appreciate that, love. It's so lovely to be here. Hi, Izzy. Welcome. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, so right before New Year's, as you can see, I'm holding onto my cup of tea for like dear life because I cannot get through talking very long without it. I also want to acknowledge that it's 4:44 right now here on the East Coast. So that is quite a magical number. That's been happening a little bit. 4:44 being all about divine alignment, kind of like confirmation of your divine plan, divine path, coming into, getting that confirmation of it. The information coming through is exactly what it is that you are feeling that it is, giving you that heads up, if you will, or thumbs up, I should say. It's also, my device is at 55%. So the 55 being that number of, big changes coming in. It's also connected to our throat chakra, and you hear my throat chakra and what it's doing right now. Big changes coming in, everybody, and all happening in divine alignment. So take that as you may. Okay. So this I probably the day or so before New Year's Eve, I actually started coming down with a nasty case of sinuses, and it immediately, I have always, it hasn't actually bothered me for quite some time, many, many years, but I've always had what they call cold-induced asthma. And so at the same time, it went right to my respiratory system and kind of created a bit of chaos there. But I did receive that I was clearing out on a personal level, as well as working with the collective energy and clearing out a lot of heart chakra related woundings or densities that I'm carrying collectively, as well as my own, as well as expanding my throat chakra and third eye chakra. So there's quite a bit that is going on to realign us and really move us into divine alignment. The heart chakra and third eye chakra seem to be really big right now. So it's kind of like, again, another octave of alignment with our bringing our heart and mind or perception into a divine union, if you will. So really having that heart and mind be in oneness there. So I really recognized throughout that process that it was this end of the year kind of like last hurrah, if you will. Hey, Maria. Welcome, gorgeous. Last hurrah to really clear out anything that was holding me back, because 2022 really feels like a big acceleration and expansion into our divine plans. For many of us, that might not resonate with everybody, but for many of us, moving us closer, if not directly, into alignment with our divine plans. And so in order to do that, there's a lot that needs to be released and let go, and for some more so than others. And something else that I've noticed is, I got this message that it wasn't just mine that I was releasing, I'm also releasing for the collective. And now, when you deal with sinus, hi Lara, welcome gorgeous, thank you so much for being here. When you're dealing with sinus or like upper respiratory, you're dealing with a lot of mucus. And mucus is, and I've said this before, is a big carrier of density. So, when we get ill, that's really our body's way of expelling or detoxing anything that is no longer serving us. Something might be, ready to be detonated or activated at that time. And, us coming into that vibrational alignment of the illness is really just that activation needed in order to clear something out. At the same time, I noticed almost everyone around me or everybody that I know knows someone currently who has COVID. And, I tend to look at COVID from a big picture perspective as well. And so I can see how there's this huge awakening happening or transformation occurring. And there's a lot of people that'll say, like, oh my God, 2022 hasn't started out really great. But you know what? It really kind of has, because that is progress. That is big progress. And, all of you who might have it, I had it, I know how challenging it can be. And so I do send my love, compassion, and healing to all of you. But at the same time, if you can step out of yourself and allow yourself to connect into the higher, like your higher mind and the bigger picture of it, it really is facilitating quite a bit of clearing and releasing of that. Again, those densities are where a lot of the old programs are carried, if you will. So it's helping us to cleanse and clear out. At the same time, I noticed that there is, and so I should say, that's facilitating stillness. I was not able to work, even though, like I said, what I had was not COVID, but I was not able to work or do anything because it just, one, I could barely talk without coughing, going to a huge coughing fit, and that was just terrible. So I really had to just surrender to the process and allow. And in that time, it allowed me to actually step deeper into myself. And it really allowed me to really explore a lot of the old facets of myself or things that I, maybe at one point aligned with, how they really were coming up as an acknowledgement to be relinquished, for me to really kind of make my peace with them. And at the same time, it was allowing me to really focus a little more on deepening my connection to self and exploring these new changes and transformations that were beginning to happen within me. As I said, there's a big theme of us shifting this year, coming into divine plans and divine work. So there's a lot of the old processes, of the old ways of thinking, or even the old things that we were working towards or we were creating, that we're now beginning to really start to see, or we're being given the opportunity to see that maybe these really aren't serving our highest and greatest good, and our paths are changing along with our vibrations as we shift and grow. So that's what these illnesses are actually, at least in my perspective. You can tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, and that's fine if it doesn't resonate with you. But from my perspective, the way that I perceive it, is that really they're facilitating great releasing to move into accelerated growth. And that's a big word that I heard, or a big term I should say, that I heard for the year of 2022, is accelerated growth. So we're really moving on a fast track after this point. So, enjoy this downtime if you can, because, soon You will hit the ground running, and it's going to be full steam ahead and fast forward. So yeah, that's really what I've been kind of noticing quite a bit. With that said, there's another theme that is occurring at the same time. Excuse me, and that theme, right on time, Spirit. There goes my throat. That theme is communication. As we do have Mercury going in retrograde, I want to say it's this week. Is it the 14th, if I'm not mistaken? Mercury going in the retrograde. So once again, it's going to bring up awareness in our communication, to be really mindful before we communicate, as during Mercury retrograde, not everything is understood or communicated in the way that we actually thought it was. So with that said, there is also a theme of forgiveness. Huge for January, for the whole month. I've really been seeing it play out in ways where there's possibly miscommunications, and ordinarily we may go to a space of how that situation, even if it's not recent and it was something that happened in the past, we might go to a space where we immediately connect into the ego of how that slighted us, or how that made us feel, or maybe even respond or react in ways that are ways we used to act or might have acted. But for some of us, and specifically I noticed it, when situations arise that might be triggering or challenging, I found myself actually feeling much more compassionate in the situation than I did actually wounded or attacked. And don't get me wrong, you know, there were moments where I may have felt a little taken back, maybe even slighted, but I felt this inspired energy to really come more into a place of analyzing it and trying to understand it. And you know, that to me, it felt very different, but it felt very natural, where I was able to actually come into a zoomed out approach and view the situation, and really look at how the situation, even if it may have not been, you know, construed appropriately or whatever it might have been, I actually was able to see the situation as how I was able to perhaps learn something that I wasn't seeing, that maybe the other person involved or the other situation was actually perceiving. And so maybe I wasn't seeing. It was actually kind of inspiring me to look at past patterns that I may have engaged in, or that I might, behavior patterns that I might even have, that maybe I wasn't even aware that might actually be taken or maybe even hurtful to others. And so it really did allow for this whole, like, I don't even know the word that I want to use. It's like this, I felt like very much in my big girl pants, where I was like, whoa, you know, I was kind of able to zoom out and see this in like a very, like I wanted to learn from it. I wanted to grow, you know, and I wanted to be able to also, even if I didn't agree with something, I also wanted to really offer an unconditionally loving approach to the situation. So that and it's not one situation. There has been multiple situations. And then with people around me experiencing things, you know, I see that they're also having an opportunity to really come into a space of forgiveness and compassion, or people wanting to be forgiven. There's also a theme of people really stepping up showing and distributing, or I shouldn't say distributing, exhibiting maybe, a side of themselves that maybe we never saw before, and it allows us to see or perceive them in a more loving light. That we're, taking back, like we're finally able to see through new eyes. I really feel like a lot of this is actually being facilitated with Venus. Venus just went, actually, she's still in the underworld. However, she did just go through a inferior conjunction with the sun, where she passed through both the earth and the sun, and it allowed her to be reborn. And she's reborn into a new goddess archetype, because that is the sign that she was in. So she moved out of Gemini archetype into Capricorn archetype. And so she has this new goddess, which is this new identity. So it's interesting, as we're like leaving behind an old identity or an old way of identifying, we're seeing others doing that as well. And it is really bringing a huge healing. And, Venus does rule over the heart in all matters of relationships, love, relationships with the self, relationships with others, our relationships with money, what we value. So a lot of that is actually changing right now. And it's really beautiful to watch, and even to be, like I said, to be on that end of experiencing it. It's incredibly beautiful. And it is this more heart-centered approach. So you can see why I'm dealing with, lungs are ruled by heart chakra. So, kind of what I'm dealing with here, there is this whole heart clearing and like almost like a realignment, accelerated ascension into, a new octave, which then also is adjusting the way that we see and perceive. So it's allowing us to feel and see as one, if that makes sense. So it's been quite an interesting week and a half. It really does feel like an entire year already. I've seen this funny meme today, and it was like, this has been I think it said 2022 has been the longest year ever this week, or something like that. And it just, because it feels like we've already been in this for quite some time this year, because the way that things are happening and just developing, it's fast, but at the same time, it's a lot. There's a lot going on. So the best thing that I can tell you with all of those situations is to allow yourself to come into the heart, to step out of the ego, to step back and view the situation from that higher perspective, and really allow yourselves to feel into it. At the end of the day, it's not about right or wrong. It's just really about, what we can learn from a situation, what we can take away from a situation. And if that situation it doesn't align, and it's just, you're just not vibing with it, just offer love and forgiveness and move on. And, you take from that what you need and discard what you don't. Okay? So big stuff going on there. Like I said, we do have Mercury moving into retrograde. It's also, Venus is also in retrograde. And she will be until the end of the month. Mercury will be dealing with this for the next 3 weeks, and then an additional 2 weeks after that goes direct with its shadow. So, this is going to bring awareness, not dread. It's going to bring opportunity to really reflect on those areas that Mercury rules over. It is the element of air, so we're also dealing with the mind and the mental patterning. It's also dealing with, again, communication, the way we communicate, what we are communicating. That also has to do with expression. So how are we expressing who we are in the world? It's almost like a change in your story. And what do you want to go forward with now versus how you've been communicating with the world around you. You're dealing with travel. So that's going to be rather interesting to see what goes on with travel on a global level here. But this is an opportunity, again, to reanalyze, reevaluate, realign, redesign. So all of that really helping you to it's like a prep period, if you look at it that way, where it's really allowing you to kind of declutter and kind of get a little bit more focused on where you're going once those breaks come off, if you will. Okay. So yeah, big energy, big stuff. And just kind of pace yourself through it. And that's why I was saying, with my readings, I'm, ordinarily the way that I would be, I'm a workaholic. And when it comes to having, like deadlines and things like that, I ordinarily was in a way that was like, no, I have to get this done. I've got, people have expectations, things are, waiting on me. I said I would have it by this or that, and I would just have all that weighing on me. So I would really push myself to extremes. And I will say, before I got sick, there had been a lot of that going on with me. I did really push myself to extremes with celebrating the holidays, with all of the shopping, everything that needed to be done for the holidays, plus my work on top of it. I've come to this space where I am now honoring me first. And, while I do greatly appreciate the patience and support that all of my students, clients actually, bless me with, at the same time, I'm no good to anybody. I kind of learned that the hard way, knocked me out for a week and a half. No good to anybody, even myself, if I'm not caring for myself first. So I'm pacing myself now with my work. I'm not over scheduling myself. Money is definitely not a factor for me. I'm really kind of just like, it is what it is. I can only do what I can do. I really trust in the divine process of that. And that's something that Venus does rule over, especially being in the sign of Capricorn. It's really teaching us a little bit more about our relationship with money and our relationship with the self as well. So two really big things, I feel like, or areas where we could really look to some revision and, kind of change a little bit of that in which we identify with those, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, that is it for the energy forecast. I'm going to get ready to move on into the oracle message. Hi, Lynette. Welcome, Goddess. Thanks for being here. Monielle, welcome. Laura says, I've been feeling like I'm able to see things from a different perspective in some aspects. Lots of heart clearing, but I still feel really betrayed and hurt, and it's been hard to let that go. Wow. Well, congratulations to you for being able to see it from the higher perspective as well. At the same time, it's just more of an opportunity. We should not ever stuff anything down. I'm a huge advocate for dealing with the feelings, the emotions that come up. And maybe, the fact that you're still feeling them so deeply is just more of an opportunity for you to really connect into those feelings, and what you can do with that. What can you do about those situations? And then let go of what you can't do about those situations, because it's just wasted energy. Focus on what you can do and what's within your power. With that said, again, forgiveness. I know that's not easy. It's a word. It's a word that comes with a whole lot of energy attached to that, and a whole lot of I guess you could say you got to really be in that space. A whole lot of, and you really in your sovereignty for that. But, if you remember at the end of the day that forgiveness is more for you than it is for the others involved, tends to help just a little bit. Okay? Much love to you, sweetheart. Izzy says, yes, analyzing and having some aha moments that ran deep for me. Some programming was disengaged. Much clearer viewer focus has become available to me. Fantastic. Good for you, hon. Thanks for sharing. See, hi, Jill. Welcome, love. Angel says, agreed. My experience as well over the past few weeks. Good. Hi, Laura. Welcome. So happy you could make it. Shelly, welcome, lovely. Izzy says, COVID positive right now. My entire family, children, and their father. Oh, man. Sending so much love. I hope that you're okay and that you guys don't have, you kind of come out on the better end of it. So much love to you, sweetheart, and all your family. I remember, Laura. I remember when you had it. Happy Moon Day, Maria. Thanks for being here, Goddess. Angel numbers. Yeah, angel numbers are big. They're really big, really important, everybody. So really connect into those. Stop what you're doing if you are able to safely. And just tap in for a second and really connect into what it feels to you. Not necessarily what Google says or the next, author or whoever, or whatever they say, Because at the end of the day, it's also their experience. It's not wrong. You might really resonate and identify with it too, and that's fantastic. But I really feel like there's a big shift happening this year with us really learning how to listen to our innate knowing and wisdom. Okay? All right. Hi, Tammy. Welcome, Goddess. Thanks for being here. Dawn says, totally understand that. Caring for my 90-year-old mom and little energy left from me. Oh, sweetie, yeah, that's difficult. That is really difficult. It does take a lot from you. So yeah, really, do what you can when you can, find some sort of, moments for you, and try to really make that a priority too. Your health is so important. And again, when we give all of our energy out and don't take any for ourselves, this happens. Okay. Laura says, there's been so much I've stuffed down for so long, and sometimes it comes out with extreme anger when I try to express them, so I'm trying to balance it. I do understand that. Maybe, I think we may have talked about this before, but it's a possibility, if you sit and really kind of, I've said before about like going into like a meditative state and calling in your higher self, or calling in the other parties involved higher selves, and just having a conversation in a sacred space with their higher selves, where it allows you to at least express yourself without having to get triggered during, because I know when we have conversations with other people, oftentimes they could not want to hear us, or just cut us off, or immediately go into a space of their ego and wounding, and it just nothing gets resolved that way. It's everybody's trying to be heard or assert their position. So kind of maybe going into that space of having a conversation in a meditative state, if possible, really does allow for it to be released from you in a space where it's safe to do so. And I feel like the more that you're able to relinquish that, the less intense it is. And at the same time, after the end of it, kind of closing out that space with coming into divine love between one another, and just envisioning, that it be resolved amicably in love for the highest and good of all parties. And when you do that, I feel like more and more that trickles into the physical. And so that by the time you are in a position to actually have a conversation in person, if you do, it's less intense. You're less attached to the emotion of it, if that makes sense at all. So I hope that helps. The same could be done with dream states. I've had dreams where there was people in my life that I had major falling outs with, and it wasn't a possibility for us to have a conversation ever again. At that point in time, I will say it's not the same since, but there was a point in time where we were never able to have a conversation about it. It just wasn't going to happen. And I had dreams where I was actually having the conversation in the dreams. So clearly with their higher self, or with an aspect of myself that reflected the situation. And I was able to make peace and have healing occur because of that. So maybe setting some intentions for dreams even before bed as well. Okay. Hi, Laura. We got lots of Lauras tuning in tonight. Love you, ladies. Venus retrograde is bringing emotional stuff up to be acknowledged, healed, and released before she goes direct at the end of the month. Absolutely. I think I talked about that the last time I did Moon Day, when I talked about Venus going retrograde and what she was really going to be facilitating. And absolutely, all of those areas that she rules over when she goes retrograde, it's an opportunity to reflect upon. So definitely triggering circumstances in those areas that need to be reevaluated. Okay. Jill says, hi, usually I see this notice on Facebook 3 hours too late, so I'm happy. Oh, good. I'm so happy that you saw it in perfect timing. Wonderful. Thanks, hon. Working forgiveness being about me and not necessarily them, letting them off the hook. Yeah, it's a process, love, so just have patience with yourself. There is no timetable as to when you have to do any of this, okay? Hi, Carol. Welcome, lovely. Thank you for being here. You're very welcome. I know. I just read what you said, Laura. The mini Lauras. Hey, Karen. Happy Moon Day, Goddess. Thanks for being here. All right. I'm going to move into the Moon Day message, but I just want to say thank you all for being so comfortable and open enough to share that information. That does take a lot of courage to be able to come on here and share in public with a bunch of strangers. So beautiful progress towards resolution and healing, just that alone. So, all right. So I've really been loving this deck. So I'm going to continue working with it. It is the Spellcasting Oracle cards. And this is by Flavia Kate Peters and Barbara Mickle-John-Free. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to ask you all to come into sacred space with me. I'm going to actually use my tinsha bells to clear out some of that energy that we all just shared. Just bring it into a harmonic resolution here. So just close your eyes if you can and just take a nice deep breath in. And just allow yourself to release, to let go of all tension, all stress within your body, within your mind. Just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will not anger. Just for today, I will be humble and kind to all things. Take another deep breath in. Just for today, I will act with love, compassion, and integrity. And so it is. One more time, take a nice deep breath in. And allow your mind to drop into your heart space, into the center of your feeling space. All right. So calling in guidance and insight for the week of January 10th, 2022, and what the collective most needs to know at this time. All right. Courage. Interestingly, I was going to say, right before I went live, as I was making my tea, I suddenly got this sharp pain in my stomach, in my solar plexus. And I thought, oh no, am I not going to be able to, sit down and go live? I already said I was going to go live today. Am I not going to be able to? And like that fast, it was gone, and I haven't experienced it again. So right away, whenever I see the lion and I hear courage, I immediately think about our solar plexus. So that is our power center. For those of you who are not familiar with chakras, this is located in the area just above your navel, just below your rib cage there in your abdomen area. And it's your center of power, your life force energy, your vitality. and your courageousness, your ability to feel confident, fearlessness, all of that. So it's funny, I've been really drawn to the color gold the last couple of days too, and this golden renewed energy, which is very much solar plexus. So I feel like that if you think about that lion, it's just like, the lion can really come off like harsh, initially. It could come off as like really kind of like roar, And yes, sometimes it's essential for us to roar a little bit in order to really set our boundaries. But there's another side of the lion that just is. The lion doesn't run around trying to prove to everyone that it is the king of the jungle, It just is. And everybody seems to know that. And I think what the message with that is to just, you don't have to, and I can kind of relate to this in this sense. I'll give you a quick example. Is, in the past when I didn't agree with something, or like, let's say an argument would come up between like me and my significant other, it was really much about needing to be heard. Like I needed to be heard. And when they didn't hear me, it would just keep this disgusting cycle of like arguing going on because, they were in their position and I was in my position and I wasn't being heard. So I had to keep roaring louder in order to be heard. But really at the end of the day, that only like, kind of like escalated the situation. Also, kind of detached the situation when it was like, okay, we're not going to discuss this at all because it's not going to a nice place. So I feel like whereas ordinarily in the past I might have connected with the energy of lion to say, like express yourself and roar it, I really don't feel like that needs to be done. Express yourself, absolutely. But I feel like it's not up for negotiation. Therefore, there needs to be no communication. It's just about you being your wild, unbridled, authentic self and having the courage to do that without the need for approval from anyone or for anything. So it's about really just walking on your path in your power, knowing who you are. And even if you feel like, but I don't know who I am, but I'm not sure about my path, that's okay. Have the courageousness to explore. Have that ferocity that's a subtle ferocity that just is who you are, just expressing yourself in the world however you feel guided to do so. Obviously, we're dealing with a lot of hard energy right now, so I really do feel like it's more about us learning how to have that wild power without needing to be explosive at the same time. So it's learning how to just be the king or queen of our own life and just allowing ourselves to just walk confidently into the next chapter with our heads held high, not needing, again, that approval or having any expectations from others about that. Another thing that I'm really feeling is like, when I look at that lion, I'm really drawn to the diamond around it. And the diamond, one, connecting more with our diamond light body. So those of you may have heard of like your chariot, your vehicle of light, your light body. But our diamond light body is a bit more of a, I should say more of a higher expression, higher octave of that. And there are tons of diamond light codes that have been flooding the planet and the collective consciousness for months and months. And so it's bringing more of attunements, I should say, or tweaks and upgrades to recalibrate us into that higher embodiment, moving us out of the density, out of that carbon base, into more of our light. And so I feel like this is like at the same time he's looking through this new window that's opening, this new gateway or doorway that's opening, and she is really coming forward now. So this is like your power and the opportunities that are coming forward this week to reclaim. your power and your divine royal sovereignty. And it doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be. It just is, right? At the same time, I'm having this message come in about tomorrow actually being a gateway. Tomorrow actually is it's 111. So that in itself, and 11122, the 2022 actually breaking down to be a 6. So you've got the 1, which is all about new beginnings, forward movement, rebirth, and energy. And then you've got the energy of the 11, and that in itself is like taking it up a level. It is a divine alignment coming in, opening path. So there's that open gateway that's happening, moving into a higher expression, a higher timeline, higher octave, whatever you want to refer to that as. And it is allowing you to make an easier transition, or I should say allowing you to make a transition easier into those new pathways, into that new calling, into that new identity that you are really starting to feel into. So really letting go and having the strength and fearlessness about letting go of some of the old ways that you no longer identify with, however that resonates with you uniquely in your life, and stepping through. So yeah, that 111, and then again with the 6 is that number of divine love, higher love, harmony, truth, Venus. And so it really is bringing us into more of a higher calling, a call, our heart's call, or our true north, if you will, really bringing us into an accelerated growth into that higher love and higher calling. All right. So pretty powerful message for the week. So I really feel like it's going to come with opportunities and experiences that are going to literally put you in that position where it's time for you to walk your talk, even if no one's around to know it or see it. It's just doing and being. That makes sense. Okay. All right. So we're just going to tap in. I'm sorry, I'm seeing some of these messages and I'm like, wait, what? I see somebody's birthdays. Oh, Jill, your birthday. Happy birthday, goddess. Wow, that's wonderful. Hey, Corey. Welcome, beautiful. Thanks for being here. I did go into some of the stuff already that you may have missed, so you can always catch it back on replay if you are interested. And yeah, Jill, I hope that you have a wonderful magical gateway birthday. So it is that doorway, that portal to stepping into the new phase of your life. So have the courage, the confidence to know that this is your call. This is meant for you. There's no doubt about that, you see. So when you know that, what else is there? Nothing but to do it, right? Okay. Oh, you are welcome, Laura. Yes, Angela, with those angel numbers. Laura says, thank you. In some ways, I do feel I'm stepping into my power and not being afraid to speak my truth. There you go. You don't need to analyze it. Just congratulate yourself. You are doing that. And just continue on that wave, love. So remember, everybody, to act from places of compassion. Speak from places of compassion when possible, but yet also that same compassion for yourself and your own needs. And don't be afraid to honor thyself first and foremost. So with that said, I'm going to leave it here. I will pull the mudra and post it on the page, as I just don't want to push my throat too much. So I wish you all so much love and blessings for the rest of the week. And may you successfully connect into and step into all that is meant for you and all that you are worthy of. Okay? Take care, and thank you all so very much for being here. Love and light.